hello, sir. Good afternoon, sir. It's great having you, sir. Just want to give an introduction. You already know me. We have been in the same class. The thing that I wanted to have this conversation with you was, sir, after attending your sessions, firstly, the first impression of every student about supply chain is one, either it is too complicated, or second, it is too boring. But I just wanted to experiment with the session, and when I attended your session, you made sure it was so easy with the case studies. It was like something that we do every day, or something like it's general knowledge. So that's why I had to ask these certain questions with you. First thing is, what is the typical type of characteristic, or like we say the ikigai a student or a person should have if he wants to go into the supply chain industry?
So I mean, typically a BBA guy.
Any person,
Okay.
what kind of characteristics a general person should have,
Okay.
or you can say like general people who come into this
STEM.
supply chain management area have.
Okay. So I think I'll answer this you know probably with more short answers so that it's very pinpointed. The first thing I would say is he has to have an appreciation and liking for the supply chain. So he basically, it's not that you are pushed into that. If you're really interested about the things of supply chain, venture into that. That's number one. Number two, the basic knowledges of all the supply chain, concepts, be it, the general concepts, be it procurement, sourcing, be it transportation management, inventory management, so basically the concepts of supply chain that's been taught in a particular course. No, and obviously he has to have a background education for that. Third thing I would say is an appreciation of what is happening around different things in technology which is impacting supply chain. It's not about deep knowledge in particular technology, but at least an overall view and um, insight, so that he's able to appreciate all of this. And finally, I would say it's obviously your ability to connect and communicate, articulate, because that's something that you will be doing every day. You'll have some internal customers with some external customers, and you'll be moving between these 2 points. So very clear cut, communication skills, articulation skills. I think these are the four major things that I would probably see a person have when he is trying to get into supply
Got it,
chain.
sir. So like, so you mentioned about the education. So what course, if a 12th standard student has decided to go into just supply chain, what course or degree do you suggest for a person like him or her?
Well, one of the first thing is supply chain is something where you need some mathematical understanding. There is inventory modeling, there are certain scheduling, production scheduling, there are planning. So my basic thought is that this person has been into some kind of little bit of mathematics, so that he appreciates those. Now, post is 12. One of the things that he can do is obviously an engineering degree, which has quite an amount of supply chain in that, in their courses. Second, I think it's a BBA degree. I feel BBA has a strong capability building around this supply chain areas. That's because BBA has an holistic approach towards these courses. They have a little bit of marketing, they have a little bit of customer relationship management, a little bit of supply chain management, HR management. So it gives you a full view of a business, how a business is run, and then how supply chain actually impacts the business. I think I've seen the BBA guys to really connect these two things very clearly. So BBA is a good option. I think you can do in graduation. Other than that, maybe a little bit of BSc with computer science, so that you can get into a little uh, computational supply chain, which is where you build the planning software and all of that, where a lot of computational and mathematical aspect comes in. So that could be also another degree that you can look forward.
Got it, sir. This is the last question, sir, now. So what is this one message or information that you want to give to any learner or who is interested in supply chain?
Oh well. It's difficult to say in one message, but I'll try, in the sense that if you look at the time that we have been going through, with all the macroeconomic conditions and what's happening around the world, our leaders are pushing us to really look on Make in India concept, and therefore India has and will become a, a unicorn in the supply chain domain. And if you name any big companies today, be it in the traditional FMCG, CPG, or automotive, industrial, or the new age companies like the e-commerce and the quick commerce companies, everybody wants a pie in India. And therefore, all of these companies, to do well, they must build the supply chain very, very robust. And today's supply chain is not just one geography. It is, source from anywhere, produce anywhere, sell anywhere. It's a global market for all of us. So I think, from that aspect, my message to people who really want to take on supply chain as a job is that, your career would be a global career. So therefore, you have to ensure that you prepare yourself to take on those global characteristics, like like the subject matter expertise. Anywhere go in the world, the inventory management process, planning process remains the same with a little bit of variation. So you have to understand those things. Second is, how do you respond to cross-cultural sensitivities? Because you will be a global, you'll be working in a global workforce. These companies will be sending you to, somewhere in the Asia, then next moment you can be in Europe. So how do you understand the global, the cultural sensitivities and all of that? And the third thing is that, how you're able to understand technology, because today technology is one of the key parameters or inputs or controlling factors of supply chain, and is influencing supply chain in a very positive way. So if you want to really work in that supply chain domain, you really need to understand and appreciate these emerging technologies and how they're impacting that. And finally, you have to be a good communicator, because without that, you won't be able to do your job in the best way. So I think, you know, and obviously it's not one message. I broke the message into multiple points, and hopefully, I'm able to give my message to that.
Thank you, sir, for all the messages that you gave. The way you broke down each message, I think you have covered all the aspects of what a person should know, or a student who wants to know about supply chain would be interested, or someone who is interested about supply chain. I think so. You have covered all the points he should know before entering into this domain. So thank
Thank
you
you.
so
It's
much.
good to know that, I was able to communicate and give my thoughts on that. And hopefully, you all get a great success in your careers and choose supply chain.
Thank you.